So these two processes, they kind of go together, and I think that they're kind of some of the fundamentals of good customer service. Client satisfaction is a really important thing to get your arms around, because knowing whether your clients are satisfied or not can make or break your business. There's some statistics down here that I just pulled across quick to show people on how important client satisfaction is. So this 1 through 11 kind of goes through all that you're losing by not doing customer satisfaction well. These first 4 really have to do with the cost of getting a new customer and the expense of losing an existing one. The fact that every customer complaint that you have, there are probably 26 other unhappy customers that remain silent. You'll never know why or if they were unhappy because they're never going to tell you. They're just going to move on to something else. 96% of unhappy customers don't complain. However, 91% of those will simply leave and never come back. Dissatisfied customers will tell 9 to 15 people about their experience. Around 13% of dissatisfied customers tell more than 20 people. And you know that's true just looking at your own life. It's true for me. When I have a bad experience with a business, I try to tell them because I really value that, and I value small business. But if I don't get a response that I want, I'll tell people about it. So think about, this is just to kind of bring the awareness to your mind. We're all so busy. We're all running around doing it, trying to put out fires, fix problems, and keep going. It's hard to really look back and say, how could I do it better? How could I do it better? It's hard to stop and spend the time to do that, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to move your business to the next level. Focusing on customer satisfaction can increase your sales and increase your profitability hugely. And there's some more statistics here if you want to read about it. So I have just a few ideas that come from the library around customer service. Do customer survey satisfaction calls. And there's a work plan in the library that kind of goes through step-by-steps of that. Don't just send out some random survey monkey or some survey in the mail, because you're not going to get those back. You're not going to get the amount that you need back. It's worth it to have a customer service person give people a call. That is so worth the money. And if you don't think it is, then look back at these statistics. It is imperative that you do it. Even if you hit 1 in 5 customers, have someone call them after the project's over, in the middle of it, after they just bought something. Ask them questions about how was the service. Get impact stories if they say great things about you. If they don't say great things about you, go into your client complaint process, which we'll talk about here in a second. But first I'm going to show you this form. So this is a customer satisfaction survey form that's built in this process. And this can be used in TouchStone. So the customer service person gets on the phone and they fill out this form. I'm going to show you an example of that, but first I just want to show this process. If your customers are happy, great. Get impact stories, get testimonials, thank them. If they're unhappy for any reason whatsoever, go into this process called customer complaints. Handle it as a complaint. Walk through a form like this one where they fill out what the complaint was and how to deal with it. Go all the way to the end to the investigation of that complaint, and then figure out how it happened. Make sure the customer's satisfied and happy and gets what they need, but then take it one step further and figure out what processes you need to put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's the key. It's the difference between running around and putting out fires, and then not even knowing if 2 weeks or 6 months from now those fires start burning again. So put out the fire and then put a solution in place. Put a process solution in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. This is what quality control is about, and this is what's going to increase your profitability, because every time a customer that is complaining in their issues, it's holes in the bucket, and that money is just flowing out. You don't know how. The way to plug it up is figure out what those complaints are and put a process in place to handle it. So before I leave you here, I'm going to log in as the customer service person. So this is a employee that's logging into TouchStone right now. The customer service person, her name's Mary. This is what it looks like when she logs into TouchStone. She only has access to these positions she has access to. Ones that she doesn't are grayed out, in case you didn't realize that. You can restrict what people see and do. She goes here to her control panel, customer service. She's going to make client satisfaction calls. She chooses this. She reminds herself of what to do with the work plans. She has the script open if that's important for her. She hasn't memorized it yet. And then she goes to the form. So here, this is the customer's name, if she wants, and the save as, the date, the person calling, customer name, equipment serviced, and you can all edit this and kind of make it for your industry. Was the product returned, yes or no? Did she contact them? Yes. Who did she speak with? Did she leave a message? This is what she said. What did they say? You can ask questions. She's reading this. Would it help you by answering the following questions about your service? Were you treated courteously? Were you given what you were promised? Is there anything more you want to say? So she fills out this form and then saves it back to TouchStone. Then let's say this customer was not satisfied. Then she goes to the customer complaints process, goes through to this custom form, and fills out a complaint. This is now documented, this complaint, and it gets passed on to the person who needs to handle it and deal with it, and then ultimately a process gets put in place because of this complaint. So me as her manager, so I'm going back to this TouchStone account now. So I'm her manager. You see her down here under customer service. I can go up here to reports, and I can go to management review. And if I want to see what Mary did today or what complaints were happened today, I can search for a specific client's name if that's what I'm looking for. I can put a date range in. But when I hit run report here, I'm going to see everything that she did based on what I was searching for. And I'm going down to the bottom because these are where the forms are. So I see these customer complaints that she did. So these web tools or these little web forms can be powerful because they're all inside of TouchStone and they're saved inside of TouchStone. And it kind of gives the manager this power to be able to make sure that this work is done and then go and review it. So both of those processes, customer complaints, customer satisfaction, are all inside of the library. They're not going to be perfect just as is. You want to customize them and make them your own. Make them work for you. Make it something that you can use and implement. Even if you don't want to do all this, inside of management review and the control panel, you can still print those forms out and fill them out. Or you can mimic that in some kind of other project management system that you have. But the instructions on when and how and where customer surveys are taken and customer complaints are dealt with is all inside of TouchStone.